Welcome back. I know the post-lunch session is always a little bit sleepy, but that's precisely why we've organized what we call an espresso shot in terms of the presentation we have going for you next. There's been lots to discuss and ruminate over through the course of the first half. This is part two of our conference, and I would like to invite on stage Santhosh Babu. He's the Managing Director of OD Alternatives, that's the Organizational Development Alternatives Consultants. He also writes for the Business Today under the column Buddha in the Boardroom, you might have caught that. And he's going to be talking about winning without losing you. So Santhosh, it's over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you. I was actually looking at the brochure and I found that my session is under Financial Principles for Family-Run Businesses, which means winning and losing for us largely financial. It's almost like, there's a book called Games People Play, and once I went to search that book in a library and found that book in the sports section. Games People Play is a book written by Eric Burney, who is a psychotherapist and psychologist. It was largely talking about the games you and I play in a conference room like this. So this is interesting, which is nice, but I wanted to disappoint you and tell you that what I'm going to talk, nothing to do with the financial stuff. That's some area that I have no clue about it. But before that, and I'm also going to share, because it's a 20-minute stuff, so I wanted to make sure, usually I don't use a PowerPoint presentation, but I thought it would be useful because I'm going to share 3 powerful models that you can use immediately when you get out of this. But before that, I need to ask a question. The last model, for that to work, I need to test whether it works in this room. So the question to you, how many of you can force yourself to be present for the next 20 minutes, which basically means away from your phones to be here? I wanted a show of hands. And I'll tell you at the end of the slide whether it works for you guys or not. All right, so we go straight. As I said, I'm not much habituated to do a TED Talk style one, but I need to then control myself to make sure that every sentence that I say make some sense, which I'm going to try very hard. This is a poem that I love. I don't know if you can read that from there. If you're not, I'm going to read it for you. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will still risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand on the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the moon and say yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. And I love the last sentence. It says, I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments. Whose company are you going to keep in the empty moments? Yourself. That's where this whole idea about winning without losing you came up. Because culturally, we're all trained to win. We won games, we really played games, we won examinations, and it's always funny when you came back home and told your mom that I got 8 out of 10. What's the typical question she asked? What happened to the 2? Not a celebration of the 8. So we learned that, okay, I have to win more. So there is this constant pursuit of winning. And the more we win, people who are self-aware also realize there is an emptiness inside. So is there a possibility that I could win without really losing who I am? What do I cherish? What do I want? Whom do I want around me? Is there a possibility? I ask this question as a possibility because it's not a surety. And I have a definition for leadership. Leadership is all about creating a new possibility which is not the extension of your past. Many of us, when we're creating future, without realizing, we're creating the extension of your past. It's a past extension. Future is never sure, but it's a possibility. And you can actually create a new possibility. So I'm going to share quickly 3 things, very practical, very simple. You're going to remember that if you keep that promise that you gave me in the beginning. And all I want is put your soul in this room. And what I mean is the sole of your shoe. That's it. And be there with me. It doesn't matter what we cover during the next 15 minutes, but it matters what you discover. That's an important thing. For that, I need you to be here. Because I could keep covering a lot of stuff. That doesn't matter. You could move out of this place without being here and without discovering anything. So let's see. I'm very curious at the end to see that. What's that one thing that you discovered from this? The first model, very simple. In any human interaction in life, there are these 3 things. And start understanding this as words. There's self, your needs, your aspirations, your wants, your dreams, your hopes. And then always there is another person. You know, the smallest unit of a business or an organization is family, 2 people. A husband and a wife. It becomes slightly bigger, then it's bigger. Within that, if you take, there is a self and there is another. And this other person has his or her dreams, hopes, aspirations, and mental models of the world. And collectively, there is a purpose, there is a goal, there is an objective, there is a desire that we collectively are trying to do. You can't find a 4th one. That's the simplicity of the model. But all of us tend to operate or give more importance to one. Let's take one by one. I could just think about, okay, I see the world from my perspective. This is what I want. I want my spouse to behave in this way. I want my partner to behave in this way. This is exactly my desire. And if you are self-focused and self-obsessed, I know the world would say that you're selfish. And when in the moments of emptiness, when nobody's around, I'm not sure whether you will love your company. There's another possibility. You focus on the other person. You say that I'm generous. I really love people. I left my job and I moved continents to support my brother because he wanted to make it big. So the whole focus is on the other person. And if you do that, at points in your life, you will regret. You'll feel like a doormat. You'll complain, you'll whine, you'll cry, but keep doing that. Again, I'm doing it for my husband, I'm doing this for my wife, I'm doing this for my dad. My dad wanted me to get into the business, so I am here. I actually wanted to go and chase my dreams, but I can't. Because I focus, I give importance to the other. Now look at the 3rd one, purpose. I have this dream, I have this purpose to create a huge difference in this market, huge difference in this country, huge difference in this business. So I am willing to forego everything about me and the other because I'm chasing this dream. And if you do that, there's no difference between you and a terrorist. Because he or she is also driving for a purpose. In the process can get killed, can kill, because purpose is most important. So I'm asking this question, is there a possibility to keep all these things in mind and create a sweet spot in the middle? Difficult. That's why I call it as a possibility. But I love the word possibility because if it was surety, there's no leadership in it. Then it's management. I don't know how many of you really know the difference because we use that word both. Management institutions, management consultant, then you have leadership institutions and leadership consultant. So the easy way is leadership is all about creating a new possibility which otherwise wouldn't have occurred without you doing something about it. So that's the first one, easy to remember. So there's always self in a condition, there's always another person involved in it, and collectively we have a purpose. And don't get confused with the word purpose. Purpose can be a goal, purpose is something that I stand for, purpose is our collective goal, purpose is our collective vision. Most of you in your organizations, you would have created a vision, mission, purpose. So something that I stand for, which is bigger than myself. which is bigger than the other person, which we are striving for. So that's the purpose in this context. Now I want you to go and have conversations with the people, and this is a model for you to have a conversation. And I want you to understand any conversations. By the way, everything in the world started with language. Language is a very powerful one. I think it's Bible which says that God went and touched this and said water, it became water. In a community where there's no word called depression, people cannot get depressed. You have to create a word first to understand the world. So it's all about conversations. When you have a conversation with other person, I want you to keep these three things in mind. There's always an intent of the conversation. Intent is below the water. Intent is always, there are only two real emotions. Rest all are learned. The true two real emotions are love and fear. All our intent in the world is either to get love or to go away from fear. Or. So all other things. So anger comes from where? Fear. I fear you're going to control me with that question. So I'm going to get frustrated and angry. So intent at a very basic level is about, I want to be appreciated, I wanted to feel powerful, I wanted to be known. There's an intent, all of us. So intent is either positive, to get something, and largely it's get love. And all other things are associated with that. Or the intent is to move away from pain, which is fear. So when I have a conversation with my partners, my spouse, my people around, can I understand what is the intent? If somebody is nagging you that you're not spending much time with me, think about what's the intent which is coming. Where is it coming from? Then there is content. Content will be you're a lousy guy, is what they say. And that pissed you off. Because that's what we hear. Oh my God, how the hell he can say that to me? We don't see the intent where it is coming from, but the content is obvious. It's up, it's out in the table, it's out in the air, and people hear it, you hear it, somebody else hear it, and you feel, my God, did that guy speak about me like that? No. That's something that hits us. The context is still easy, but let me tell you, neuroscience say before you take an action in the brain, the context has decided the body to act in a way. So half a second before it occurs to your conscious brain, your body has already prepared for it based on the context. So anytime I look at anybody, anytime I look at a group like this, I have a context in my mind, which is going to shape what I'm going to say that. Anytime you look at another human being in the eyes, if you know that person in the past, or if that person looked like somebody whom you know, or if you have thought what the person wants, you're already walking into the room with a context. And that context is going to shape the content. Let me give you a quick thing about context. Can you read this and tell me what this paragraph is all about? If you can't read the last, I'll read it for you. A newspaper is better than a magazine. A seashore is a better place than a street. At first, it's better to run than to walk. You may have to try several times. It takes some skill, but it's easy to learn. Every young children can enjoy it. Once successful, complications are minimal. Birds seldom get too close. Rain, however, soaks in very fast. Too many people doing the same thing can also cause problems. One needs a lot of room. If there are no complications, it can be very peaceful. A rock will serve as an anchor. If things go wrong, it's the last one if you couldn't read. I want you to tell me, what is this paragraph all about? If you get a right answer, you get a hug from me. And because of that, don't think that, okay, I shouldn't give the right answer now. This guy is going to come and hug me. So if you get a right answer, help me know. What is this all about? You don't have a context. Incoherent, yes, it doesn't make any sense. That much we know. It's not connected. It's not making any meaning. Yes? Say that again, please.
Deep thinking.
Dream. Deep meaning.
Deep thinking.
Deep thinking, yeah. Whenever we don't understand something, that's what we think, right? True. That's how we know that, oh, my guy talks so much, I couldn't get anything. I think it must be very deep. This is actually deep. Let me help you. Read that again. Every word and a sentence makes sense because I gave you a context. Still deep, still makes sense. But without that word or two words, it's never going to make any sense. Now I have a context of why he is behaving like that, and everything comes very clear. Now I understand the context. There's a contextual awareness. So I'm not getting stuck on the content. You saw content before and didn't make any sense. And you could give your meaning to that. The moment you understand the context, the whole picture changes. So while we are trained to read the content, how do I expand my mind to understand the context of every conversation? The context of another person's behavior. The context that influences my behavior. As I said, anytime you walk into a situation, the context that you have about the situation is going to influence your behavior. It's not your conscious brain. I always say that 95% of the decisions that you make in your life are not rational. It's based on the context, and it's triggered by what I call the reptilian brain. It's not the neocortex. You have three brains: the reptilian brain, the mammalian brain, and the neocortex. And the reptilian brain is the most primitive brain that helps you to survive. So it prepares you for survival. And in the movie Matrix, the guy got the name Neo because it came from neocortex. Neocortex means evolved. Neo is an evolved man, but our decisions are not really evolved. All of us, human beings, because your reptilian brain would have a context about what's going to happen, and it's about survival, it's about fear and love, and the actions come. And the context will be shaped based on that. And the content of what you say to each other, the content of your decision is mostly influenced by that. So remember these three things: the content, context, and an intent. And most of the time, when I have a conversation, I ask the direct question: I would love to understand the intent. Can we talk about it? And I say, hey, from my side, when I see the context, I see this. And I'm very curious to know, how do you see this context? So we are expanding each other's awareness through this process. So intent, content, and context when you have conversations with people. Now, for all this to work, without doing anything, you have to be this. I'll tell you what. So this is not about doing. This is about your being. How do you want to be in this world? These three things. If you don't have this, the other two models will not work. And I'll give my meaning to it. These words may have your meaning. Very simple. Integrity means you say something and you do that. That's why I said this model, I will test you. I asked, can you be here without checking your mobile? And if you did that, you are high integrity. And I've also watched all the people who secretly looked at the mobile in between. So integrity is not a moral stuff, man. Nothing moral about it. You do whatever you do. But tell that I'm going to do. If you think you are a jerk, tell the world that I'm a jerk and be exactly like a jerk. You're high integrity. You know that movie Godfather? The central character, high integrity. Because the whole movie is about, he said, I don't want to get into drug business. I don't mind killing people left, right, and center. That's what I'm going to do. He say that and does that. High integrity. So integrity is not a moral word. You say something, give your word, and do that. We all have situations where I'm not able to keep my word. Good. Tell that. You see, I gave you my word, but I must tell you, I'm not able to do that. That's it. You don't have to be apologetic. You don't have to be sorry. You don't have to feel small. Things change. I did give you a word. I must tell you that immediately when I realized I'm not able to do, but I'm able to clean up any mess that I've created because of that. Can we do that? Then you immediately feel you have integrity back. Because you're not going to sleep feeling that I gave my word and I'm trying to avoid it. I'm trying to do a lot of stuff. Very simple. Say what you're going to do and do what you said. Authenticity, again, very complex word. Very simple. Be the person who you think you are. And Be the person whom you project to others you are. Simple. I always have a different say. I love dogs. I train dogs when I'm not training human beings. So I always wish I could be the person my dog think who I am. The dog think that I'm a great guy. Whatever I do, he loves me. I always wonder if I could be the person that my dog think I am. So authenticity is about being the person whom you think you are, and being the person who you project to others you are. Very simple. There is nothing big stuff around it. And the last one is responsibility, is about, let me give a test. Who is responsible for the bad condition of the roads in Delhi and the traffic in Delhi? Who is responsible? The government? Yeah. It's about saying me. That's what responsibility means here. Anything that is going around in your life, if somebody else is responsible, you don't do anything about it. Anything. Wherever you are right now in life, with whoever you are, and whatever is happening to you, can you stand up and say, I am responsible? Only then this will happen. When I coach people, I have a test. I simply ask this question. Are you responsible for everything that's happening in your life? If the answer is somewhat, I don't coach. The answer is no, I don't. If they say yes, I say good. Then we can work together. The responsibility is about being the center that could create a difference. The moment you say that guy need to do, even if somebody else has to do, can you take the responsibility to take action? And with the power of your responsibility, others will show up in a way that could solve the problem. But the moment you say that I am not responsible, and in fact if you break that word, it is two words. Ability to respond. And if you don't take responsibility, you have no ability to respond. And you just keep in a vicious cycle. We become a character in that Hindi serial. Hindi serials has typically three types of people. One is a victim. Who is the other one? Yeah, but villain. And the third is a hero. When you are a victim, you are waiting for Amitabh Bachchan to come in a white horse and save you. You don't do what you could do. So that's about responsibility. So this is not about doing. These three are about your being. Be authentic. Have integrity. Demonstrate that by giving your word and sticking with that word. And at the same time, take responsibility for what's going on in your life. Who is there in your life? Where are you in your life? And you're responsible for that. That allows you to take action. That's it. Very simple. I'm done. Questions? Yes, please.
Thank you. My question is that you mentioned the relevance of being authentic to who you are and project that exactly in that way. My question is that do you feel that most people actually know who they are and what they are authentic to as values and ideas?
That's a deep question, so I'm not even going there. So I did a lot of teaching at ISB. And one of the questions that one student asked me, Santhosh, when I'm facing an interview, if I'm nervous, what should I do? So my answer was, you tell that guy you are nervous. It becomes his problem now, not yours anymore. So I'm talking at a very basic level, because I'm not saying that who you are is like a rock or a fixed thing. At this moment, who I am is I'm shit nervous. And the more I try to cover it, the more the other guy gets it. And the moment I say, you know what? I don't know, I'm really nervous. Now the nervousness is gone. So I'm saying that moment-to-moment awareness. I'm not really saying, because that question is a fundamentally bigger question. There is a need for self-awareness, and we do a lot of things. We use tools, but my basic advice is you're not a fixed thing. You're a work in progress. And you're a moment-to-moment existence. I can be this now. I can choose to be something else, which gives me the choice. But what I am saying is, at any given point of time, can I just say who I am? What am I going through? How am I facing? And many a time in the leadership role, you think if I am making myself vulnerable and making myself, in front of others, letting them know what's going on, there is a challenge. Actually, it's not true. People will love you for that. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Yes, please.
Yes. How to find a balance between the today's projects and the past track record, especially in the business in which the perception of the others is based on which is your track records, which are your achievements, even if us on personal basis we have self-confidence. So how to deal with that?
One of the things I learned that I can't do anything about my past. Though I created a technique called changing the past story. Each one of us have stored our past in a certain way. That's our story. And if that story is not very meaningful, we can change it. Because you created the story anyway. Anytime when something happened, there are three stories. One is your story, the other is the other person's story, and third is the story, which none of us know. So what is in our choice is give a respectable story for ourselves. Because we are creating story. So we can't do anything about it other than changing the story. The second is, when I said creating a future is all about leadership, you can either live in your past, or if you really created a powerful intention for a future, bring that here into your present and be who you need to be for that future possibility. You're actually living. You're bringing that future here and standing on that possibility. It's not what they say, fake it till you make it. But your whole actions are deriving from, not from the past, but a future possibility that you wanted to bring into the present.
Warm round of applause, please, for our speaker
Thank
this
you very
afternoon.
much.
Thank you very much for that. Earlier this morning, you heard an extremely honest and insightful conversation from Mr. Analjit Singh. These are people who've actually earned their stripes, both with regards to becoming successful businesses and getting family businesses to run efficiently and profitably. So here's another story from one of India's best known corporate stories, really, from the family business arena. May I invite on stage Mr. Sunil Munjal, founding mentor of ISB Fab Network, member of the executive board at ISB, and of course, chairman of Hero Corporate Services. He's going to share some of his stories too. Mr. Munjal.
Good afternoon, folks. It looks like it's been a long, weary day. That was a rather slow response. First, my compliments to Amit, Isha, and the team who have been plugging at this. It's not often realized that it's family business which provides the majority of the jobs, the revenue and the value creation worldwide, not just in India. Our impression very often is this is unique to India. But if you go to Europe, you go to the Americas, you go to Southeast Asia, it's actually quite common that many of the large businesses, and certainly majority of the small businesses, are actually family